Of course, there is more going on than just deranged anti-Elon Musk activists. The American media is, of course, also having its own car crashes. Take a look at this exchange, which happened on CNN a couple of days ago, which I think represents both a masterclass in explaining how the American mainstream media works, flooding the zone with whatever they deem to be the big negative story of the day about Trump, while also ignoring their own failings, like, say, CNN's loss of a $5 million defamation payout that they were forced to make to a Navy veteran turned private contractor that they had unfairly and inaccurately accused of doing unsavory black market things in Afghanistan. Now, keep that story in mind here as you watch CNN's Caitlin Collins try to drill Veterans Administration Secretary Doug Collins, no relation, by the way, over this mini scandal that keeps playing on about the White House and the use of a Signal encrypted messaging app to discuss war plans, because this exchange also gives you a masterclass for conservative politicians in how to deal with this sort of treatment.
Do you believe that a mistake was made here, though, to have this conversation, to add a reporter, and to have it on an unsupported, classified group setting?
Caitlin, as I've just told you, I've just answered the question. I wasn't part of it. And, I'm not going to speculate more than what the president's already talked about and those who've been involved have talked about. But we'd love to talk about the veterans.
Well, fair enough. But do you think Caitlin was just going to leave it there? Oh, no, not on your life.
Yeah, and I do have questions about the veterans, but given what we saw with the group chat and how this was used, you are a member of the cabinet. You obviously know these other members, several of them who were in there. Is this typical for the cabinet to have conversations over Signal? Is this something that you use?
Well, Caitlin, since you undoubtedly do not want to talk about the VA, I have a question as VA Secretary. As Cabinet, I want to ask you, because I've been curious about this, because my job is to take care of veterans, and I would like to know why CNN is hostile to veterans, especially one in Florida, where you just had a $5 million defamation suit taking offense at a veteran who was trying to help people. In fact, one of your employees actually said, we're going to nail him. I have a question for you, Caitlin. Is that employee still employed?
Mm-hmm. And he wasn't done yet.
I'd like to hear from CNN as the Veteran Cabinet Secretary why CNN seems to have a problem with veterans.
Well, Mr. Secretary, respectfully, my question was about whether or not you as a member of the cabinet use this. And respectfully, I'm conducting the investigation.
And that, folks, is how it's done. Turn it around, make the media answer the questions that they don't want to. And just on that, while official Washington loses its mind over the cabinet members using the Signal app to discuss an airstrike on Houthis in Yemen, calling for resignations and the like, to turn that around again, it is also worth pointing out that there was far less press scrutiny, and I think weren't any calls for resignations during the failed Biden administration's pullout from Afghanistan that left 13 service members dead and billions of dollars of equipment and weaponry in the hands of the Taliban. I'm not the only one saying that. Here's Vice President J.D. Vance addressing this very problem.
I find the American media's obsession with this issue very, very interesting, because I happen to remember about 4 years ago when American military leadership made a catastrophic error that got 13 innocent Americans killed in Afghanistan and had about $80 billion of military equipment turned over to one of the worst terrorist organizations in the world. And for years, the American media ran cover for a Biden administration that refused to fire any generals or even launch an internal investigation that was meaningful and substantive about what happened. And now the same American media that covered for the Biden administration after the untimely death and the unnecessary death of 13 brave Americans is really, really interested in forcing the President of the United States to fire someone because of a Signal chat.
Vance is right. This double standard is ridiculous, and it is why it is important to remember that so much of what we are seeing now, so much of the outrage in so many areas, be it in the media or academia or anywhere else, comes from the fact that everyone in all these institutions had assumed that the Democrat big swamp grift was going to go on forever. And so what did they do? Well, they set up a whole bunch of rules about how things would work and run without ever imagining Donald Trump could ever win and turn the whole power structure around on them. So, sorry guys, but for now at least, it's game over.